been a bit, huh, Wyatt?
Oh yeah, it's been. Oh, has it been a whole year yet since we've since we last recorded a podcast
Yeah,
together? Well, not really, but just us two
yeah,
together.
just the In Case Break Glass crew, because I've decided
Hmm.
that's just gonna be the permanent name for our little
Yeah,
segment.
why not?
Yeah, I like the name. I think it fits my vibe well,
Yeah,
and Wyatt tolerates it. So,
right. It's a name, and though you know what, I prioritize having a name over agonizing over like what's the most clever possible name that we could think of for the. Nah, it's just good to get it.
yeah,
Boom, we're done. We got it. Thumbs up.
yeah. I guess something just broke today. I completely forgot this was supposed to drop today. The Mario
Mhm.
Galaxy trailer.
That's
I just want to
right.
complain about it for a bit. Not
Okay.
the trailer itself, more like the people who are getting a little weird about it. I
Hmm.
mean, like it's one thing to just not like these Mario movies because I have my own critiques with them.
Yeah.
They got problems, and I just see like because okay, so the trailer was mostly a Yoshi trailer,
Hmm.
and despite it being called the Mario Galaxy movie, a lot of people were complaining that there is no Mario Galaxy like elements in this trailer, even though we saw them like in the last trailer. There was like a
Yeah.
lot of Odyssey stuff. There was, of
Yeah.
course, got Yoshi.
Yeah. I'm watching it in the background right now. It begins in Toast Arena, so it's like, yeah, this is one thing that I have also seen people online say like, oh, for a Mario Galaxy movie, there's a lot of galaxy elements to this, and yeah, I want to continue. What is your take on that?
Well, it's almost like they've said it before. It's like it's supposed to be more of the 3D era, and Galaxy is the most popular, and like the way they're connecting all these 3D games. Because you got like Bowser Jr. in the last trailer was using some Sunshine stuff, and then we got like the Stinger in this trailer is an Odyssey thing, and like there's a lot of Odyssey.
Mm,
Even like Yoshi's been in a few 3D games, so I don't know. It just, I mean, like I get like, and it's also just these movies are just basically just packed with like remember this, so it's like
yeah,
it's not gonna be these trailers are gonna be like like I don't know, it's just a weird thing. Like I'm
right,
not even like excited for this movie. I'm just being like people are talking about this really weirdly.
right, yeah. I mean, uh, I'll say that I have now ever watched the first movie. I think we actually plan to watch it at some point,
Yeah,
unless
I
plans
still want to
change.
do it. I'm just waiting till like the movie gets closer so we can do like a double feature.
Yeah,
So
and as well as the Sonic movies, which I've also never seen. But uh, in my opinion, like if there's anything that's a little bit odd about the fact that they have Toasterina from Odyssey in it is and the T Rex or whatever is that they are kind of taking material from Odyssey, like a potential Odyssey movie, and using
yeah,
it in the Galaxy movie. Like if that's something I can see. My take on it though is that it would make sense if like Galaxy is still the frame device. It's still the overarching, the way that the movie is connected and it's the way that the movie is going to end and everything. Just like how in the first movie, again, I haven't seen it,
yeah.
but it ends with Mario, Luigi fighting Bowser, etc. Despite the fact that there's so much other business going on throughout the
Yeah, you
middle
got
of it.
Donkey
There's
Kong Country, you got Mario Karts. It's like a whole
yes,
thing.
yeah. Luigi in a haunted mansion, whatever. Like they have all these little references and things to other games. So
Yeah,
I don't know, and I feel like Mario Galaxy is more so if they're adapting it into this version of the Mario world, it's more about just expanding the scope of the world and the story and everything rather than like literally recreating the exact
yeah,
like, oh, Mario's going to go into little planetoids and then he's going to jump in a star and the star will rocket him over to a slightly bigger one. Like it's not going to be just watching a guy let's play Mario
yeah. I
Galaxy.
mean, like if you want to
Like,
watch Galaxy, you could just play Galaxy on Switch now. So
mm,
it's like I don't know.
but
And
yeah.
I mean, like it's a whole thing. I mean, like I know, like video game adaptations are weird. Like there's just that really bad Silent Hill movie that just came out. Like
Right.
everything I've heard about it, just like
Yeah.
oh, uh, I don't know if like you're gonna cover a horror hole eventually, but I pray for your sanity if you do.
I'm sure we will. I mean, we did talk about Five Nights at Freddy's, the first movie.
Yeah.
We do have to talk about the second movie sometime soon,
Uh-oh.
which is apparently even worse than the first movie, which is kind of
Yeah.
hard for me to comprehend because first one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
You
I don't
know,
know. Video game movies, admit, but it's like I'm glad we're in like an era where it's like there's better. It's better than it used to be, but it's still
Mhm.
like you still got your old tropes and shit, like of like
Yeah,
just
I
completely
think people.
misunderstanding the material.
Yeah, I think the issue now just sort of becomes people's expectations of like how they would adapt it, and now that they are realizing that they're becoming the comic book nerds that they made fun of in the 2000s for
Yeah,
complaining about how Spider-Man or the Hulk was adapted. Now they're like, oh, this isn't 100% accurate to this
yeah,
exact video game like setup and formula and whatever, to the point where it's like, I have not seen the third Sonic movie, but I know to some extent it adapts Sonic Adventure 2,
yeah,
and but it also doesn't have Rouge in it. It doesn't have like
yeah.
Knuckles going on an emerald
Yeah,
hunting,
bro.
finding shards and Pumpkin Hill or whatever. Like, but that's fine because if it still gets to the essence of the story that it's trying to
Yeah.
tell, then it's an adaptation. It's just a
Yeah,
different
yeah. I mean
take on
that's
it.
what I like. I was just watching the One Piece live action because the new season's gonna come out, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is actually like, yeah, it's not one to one, but it still gets the essence of like One Piece down in this new format.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was a bit skeptical about that one, but like it won me over. Like it's very
Mhm.
charming.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
all right. I guess speaking of shonen anime, Dragon Ball.
Yeah, a lot
They
of
did
Dragon Ball
40th,
business.
40th, 40th anniversary. Oh
Mhm.
boy. Uh they announced all the stuff weirdly because they announced the new project first and then the
Mhm.
remake later. You would think it would go
Yeah.
the other way. Like, but I guess they just want to be clarified. New stuff is coming, but first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird that I was like, oh, wonder what they're going to announce. Because all I knew was that a new game was going to be announced.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about like any anime related stuff. Honestly, I just kind of figured it was a lost cause that we would ever get adaptations of the manga only storylines from Super, which I've never read because I've not even watched all of Super.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I've only watched the 3 out of the 4 Super movies. That's my
right.
most exposure to it.
Ooh, have you not seen Superhero?
I've not seen Resurrection F. I
Oh, well,
purposely
okay.
skipped
Well,
that one
that's the
because
worst one.
everyone told me it was a really bad movie, so I was like,
Okay.
okay, Frieza's back. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. Whereas I was gonna say if you skip superhero, I would highly recommend watching it, but you
No,
did see
I
it,
saw
so
that shit in theaters. It
yeah,
was amazing.
yeah, very good. But yeah, that's my only real entry point into Super. And a little bit of watching the anime when it was airing when my brother was watching it, and I would like watch it over his shoulder and be like, "This Jiren guy seems really boring," you know. And then yeah, but now that I just finished GT like a couple weeks ago, I'm like, all right, I
Yeah.
should go and start Super. I started the first arc of it, which is just an adaptation of Battle of Gods.
And lo and behold,
Uh-huh.
Super Kai, Super
hmm
Kai. It's really they're gonna like. I don't know if they're using like. I've been hearing mixed reports of like either using the film basis or they're using the TV show as a basis, but it's basically like they're
It
doing
looks
just
like they're
doing.
using the show because there's
Yeah.
a bunch of scenes that are unique to the show,
Yeah.
even from what I've seen that are in it. Like Goku when he's fighting with Beerus on and King Kai's planet, he immediately transforms into Super Saiyan 3 and is like, yeah, in the movie, and they fight, and Beerus wins. Whereas in the anime, they extend it to like an entire
Multiple
episode where
episodes.
he
Yeah.
goes, turns Super Saiyan, fights with Beerus, doesn't win. Turns Super Saiyan 2, fights with him, still doesn't win. Turns Super Saiyan 3, fights with. They just like really pad it out.
Yeah.
I saw some scenes from that in the trailer, so it looks like they're just uh, probably doing a mixture of all new animation and just touching up the animation from Super.
Yeah, because like
Maybe they're
they've described it as like the One Piece Fishman Island remake, where it's
okay.
like they got like the new compositing studio to like composite like, but it's apparently more ambitious than that.
Mm.
It's like this Beerus stuff is only gonna be 6 episodes, which is probably I want to get it over with. You don't
Yeah,
want to drag it out for an entire anime season. So
that's good
yeah,
because that was immediately my thought of like if they're going to make it a short, even a short, just single season anime like 13 episodes, that's still basically how long it was in Super, and that was really padded out. I mean, I don't know 100% for sure because I've only seen 6 of the episodes of that arc so far. Of what I've watched was very padded out, and they could
yeah,
definitely cut entire episode. Like, do we need the episode of Goten and Trunks getting water for Videl, for as a wedding present? No, we do not need that. It's cute. I appreciate it. We
yeah.
do
I
not
I've
need that to be
watched
the
like a
first
bit of
episode.
Super, and I liked episode 2 where like Vegeta is at the theme park. That was a
Mhm.
funny one.
Yeah, that's one that they can easily cut. Not saying I want it to be gone from the story or stricken from the record of history or whatever, but
Yeah, I mean,
just like with
you still got the original Super like
yeah,
existing. It just like the worst part would be if they just decided, oh, they take it off streaming or whatever, which I don't think
mm,
they'll do. Like they
yeah,
like I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, if
It's
they
like you
let
said,
like
it's like
multiple
Kai.
versions of Z, yeah, if they let multiple versions of Z run around, then it's like they'll let
Mhm.
multiple versions of Super run around. Um,
Yeah, the Boo arc specifically has like 3 different versions because
yeah,
there's
like
the
the
original Z version,
international.
yeah, the international, and then like the Japanese only version, which was like more heavily edited. So like I remember getting the Kai Blu-rays for when the Boo arc was coming out, and I started it, and it was just the same Z episodes of the Great Saiyaman arc, and I was like, what the? They didn't. Isn't this supposed to cut filler? Why did the
Well,
like?
it's like
It's not like
apparently
I
it's like
dislike those episodes. It's
yeah.
just the
From what
point
I
of Kai is to try to
understand,
make it more manga accurate with the
yeah,
pacing. So it was just funny that they just kept
they
in a
kept
bunch of filler still with the Boo arc in
yeah.
like the U.S. version of it.
Yeah, I guess because it's like they like the
So
international
you
fans
know,
like this stuff. It's like keep it in. It's like that's the reasoning I heard for like why the international and like Japanese cuts are different.
mm,
Um, but like that could be completely different. I don't know.
yeah. Um, but how do you feel about so you've not read the manga either,
I
right?
have not even touched the manga yet.
Okay.
So I
And so
don't
for
know
Super,
anything
yeah,
about. I know Jacko's a character. I need to read his like standalone like manga at some point.
pretty good.
Um, And yeah, it's because they like the literally the subtitle for the movie or like arc or whatever this is gonna be is like called Galactic Patrol. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like of course Jacko's tying into like the granola and the
Moro,
Moro.
yeah.
Yeah, Moro's first, then granola. Okay, it's
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, so that's all I know is like Goku and Vegeta join the Galactic Patrol at some point. There's a guy
Yeah.
also that's with them. It's not Jocko, it's a different guy who's a Galactic Patrolman, and they fight Moro, who is exactly like T-Rex from season 4 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
I thought you were gonna say Cell. I thought because everyone says he's Goat Cell.
He's
So it's like,
literally like if you anybody out there who has seen Twilight's Kingdom, the two-parter at the end of season 4 of My
mm,
Little Pony, literally he is an old, withered, like super powerful magician, but his, the ravages of time have gotten to him, but he's escaped from his prison and he's going around and absorbing the magic from all of the beings on this planet, and it's slowly like growing into his final form. It's like that Moro is exactly T-Rex. So that's
that's crazy.
Toyotaro was a brony, I guess, when he came up with. Well, I guess I actually don't know how much Toriyama had involvement in those. I know he had some degree of writing the concepts for like
I
Moro
think
and
like
Granola,
after
but
Tournament of Power it was like all Toyotaro from what I understand,
yeah,
but like I could be completely wrong. I think Toriyama still gave advice being like, hey, do this.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know to what extent. I'm sure it's they credit him, but as far as I'm aware, the only way that they credit him on the manga for Super is that the original story is by Toriyama, as in Dragon Ball. The manga was
Yeah.
by Toriyama,
I
so
mean
it's
that's
like
what all the new posters are saying, like original story by Toriyama. It's like
yeah. So they had to get his name on there somewhere, even though he's completely unrelated at this point, for obvious reasons. Though apparently he
yeah.
was involved in this game. That
Yeah,
is,
like the Dragon Ball Online 2 or whatever. I don't know. Everyone's been saying like, oh, this shit's like Dragon Ball Online, and I'm like, I've never played that
hmm,
game, so I don't
yeah,
know anything of like what you're
yeah,
referencing.
yeah. It's just called right now Project Age 1000. So
Yeah, and
that
apparently
means
like
it.
that's when Dragon Ball Online takes place or whatever, so that's
Mhm.
why everyone's like popping off. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like a couple hundred years after the events of GT. Like that's the latest in the timeline. That ends. So it could like my immediate thought was that it's something Dragon Ball Online related or like Heroes or whatever any of those fucking side game slop
spin-offs.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, here's baby Janemba and here's, like whatever. Like that kind like all those villains come from
Like
um
super cooler.
yeah, cooler but fused with Cell, just all of that crap. And I don't know, but I'm a little bit interested in it if they say it's like, oh, it's a whole new cast of characters,
Yeah.
designs, all
Some
designed
people
by
are
Toriyama.
speculating it's an RPG, which could be fun.
Yeah, if it's like Dragon Ball Fusions on the 3DS, that was a
Yeah.
pretty fun game. My favorite Dragon Ball RPG is Attack of the Saiyans on the DS, which
Ooh.
was actually made by Monolith Soft.
Yeah, Monolith
So
did a couple Dragon Ball games. Like they did
yeah,
fusions, right?
no, I think I have no idea who the hell did Fusions, but they did do Attack of the Saiyans though, that is funny
Yeah.
because you can just look at that as like whatever DS shovelware, but it's like I don't know, it's
That's an
gorgeous.
important studio now.
Yeah, it's an important studio, and that it just so happens that that section of story that the game covers, which is like end of the Piccolo arc to the end of the Saiyan arc, is my favorite chunk of Dragon Ball. So it's just like that game is a perfect little representation of that. Um, and also, I'm sorry to keep going on about this, but the game was called Dragon Ball Kai in Japan because it was released alongside Dragon Ball Kai coming out.
That's
But
real
it's
fun.
but it still had Z filler in it. Like as like you would be Gohan and you would like find the robot,
Oh my
or the
god.
pet dinosaur. Like there was all those the filler moments from
I mean,
like
I guess
the middle
like
of the
they
Saiyan
just
arc.
I guess the show wasn't like the re-edit wasn't out, so they had to like rely on the old material or whatever. I don't know.
I think that I think exactly the people making the game were just like, of course we're going to make it based on the anime, and then Toei or whomever was deciding around the branding, just called it Kai. Whereas in America, Kai wasn't a thing over here at
Yeah.
that point, so they were just like Dragon Ball Z. So that was more accurate for
This is odd.
once.
The one time the American title's more accurate. The
Yeah.
one time. Yeah.
Anything else? I can't really think of anything
Yeah,
else.
that's basically all the Dragon Ball stuff.
Hmm.
Tepidly excited, very curious to see where it all goes.
Yeah, the
Um,
Beerus thing I'm not super excited about, but if it's short, that's
Short
fine.
and maybe. Hey, I haven't seen Super in full. Maybe if they do all the other arcs, I will like just tune in
Yeah.
week to week and just be like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
watching
if
Super.
they can streamline it, if they can get like the Tournament of Power down from like 35 episodes to like 20 episodes or like 15 or something, that would be great. Um, I'm kind of dreading getting to that point
Yeah, I
just
mean, like I
because
know the animation improves, but it's also like that's a lot of that's like half the show. You're
yeah.
watching like
Yeah, because even in GT, the stuff with baby, or like the by the time that the baby arc is done, it's like 40 episodes of the
Yeah,
show. And even that, like, oh, it begins in a different way and then slowly morphs into this arc about baby. So like it's dubious if they're even one arc, like some people consider the first bit of GT as its own arc, and then as soon as baby's introduced, that's the start of a new arc. Um, so it's a little bit more. It's not as like overwhelming, like with the amount of episodes. Whereas, yeah, with uh, Super here, it's hard for me to put myself into that zone of being excited to watch a tournament arc of people nondescript characters beating each other up for 35 episodes. Sounds a little bit like it would get old pretty quick, but we will see, when I eventually get to watching that. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, speaking of we'll see, or like seeing something soon, or catching up. I don't know.
mhm.
This is a terrible
Yeah.
segue. Kamen Rider Zets. I heard you finally caught up.
Yeah. I want to how are you feeling about Zets? What's your
I like
mood
it.
on it at this point?
I
Yeah.
like it. Of course, it's not going to be nearly as good as Gav, but it's like I like it. It's good, and
Mhm.
I think these recent episodes have been really like stepping up and like kind of connecting all the dots. That I'm like, oh yeah, why don't they do
Mhm.
this? It's like yeah, now they're and I've been saying this like every time Zets is brought up, but it's like it's a really good like showcase of like everything Ryder has and will be.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like homaging Showa elements and homaging Heisei elements, and then like
Mhm.
talking about like the recent Reiwa trends. It's like it's a
Yeah.
good balance, and it's like
Yeah, there's definitely a good amount of like you said, it feels like it's in line with a lot of the stuff that the Reiwa shows have been doing. Like from the little bit that I've seen of Revice, there's a little bit of that in there. It feels like there's a lot of Saber in this current arc with the idea of like maybe the organization that they're working for is not good after
yeah,
all. Like, and then of course like 01, because it's the same
same
guy.
writers, Zero One
Right.
and Geats. Yeah,
Yeah.
I also this is mostly Xade like felt I've been about like any of these Takahashi shows because of like
Yeah.
the duality of the protagonist. Like oh, in the
Oh, for
dream he's
sure.
cool, but in real life he's a dork.
I would say that, like, yeah, that I remember when the show first came out, I think I made the observation of, oh, just like with Geets, it's kind of like if Kawa and Ace were one character.
Yeah,
And then I thought about it harder and then came to a realization, or just like M and Emu,
yeah.
so like those two personalities. But yeah, like the first story arc, I really loved, the way that everything concluded with that, with like the plasma capsum,
Yeah.
the
Honestly,
just
I don't
the
really like the plasma suit. I like the more upgraded version they show for like a brief second at the end of that, but like
mhm.
like I mean it's still a fine suit. It's like
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
yellow and green is a weird combo.
it's more the story juice that's
Yeah,
important to
true,
me,
true.
where it's like,
Like
oh, it's cool. It's similar to how I really liked how it was done in Gav with K King, where it felt like he gained this power through character development, and that was very satisfying.
yeah.
But it still made sense, like mechanically, in the way that the world was set up. So like, oh, we learned that the capsims are nightmares that have been contained inside of them. So he uses one of the blank capsims to absorb his nightmare of being struck by lightning. So he's using his fear to power himself. And
Yeah,
then
it's great.
he uses the ability of him to conquer his own fear to help Nox conquer his fear of the dark,
Yeah.
which does end up backfiring because then he gets a new form
Yeah,
later.
Nox
But
Shadow.
yeah, but and here's the thing: I haven't been looking at a lot of the ancillary material, like a lot of the catalogs or whatever. I didn't know that Nox wasn't a common writer until like he gets the second belt and then becomes a common writer.
Yeah,
Like I
because it's
didn't
like
realize he wasn't a common writer when he transforms
he's
for
just
the
called
first
like
time.
Nox Knight, which is like kind of
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I guess that's supposed to be like the Shadow Moon like type beat where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, he's kind of like he looks like a Kamen Rider, but he's not.
Yeah,
Um,
and I believe that's also the case with this upcoming.
these upcoming the lords, as they're calling
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, so they're not directly Kamen Riders. So the designation of Kamen Rider is unique, like very unique in this world, which I appreciate. But it's also like, well, this is basically the same thing, you know.
It's like it just kind of feels like you're kind of complicating it, but it's like it's still fine. It's still like
Yeah.
it's still like I get it, but I feel like the people who are jumping into Zets because of the international broadcast are going to be a little confused.
Oh yeah, and I think that what is it? I was always of the opinion that there was something a little bit sinister about Zero, but that I don't think that he's like a bad guy. Like I don't think he's an evil guy. Just
Yeah,
that he's keeping information from the hero and is has that like, oh, the ends justify the means mentality as far as fulfilling the goals of code. The other guy that shows up, Agent 3, he looks super evil, so that's like kind of hard for me to have as much empathy and like understanding for him. Like as far as like I think they are just kind of positioning code as a sinister organization at this point, but then also they have the lady show
yeah,
up and complicate things as like, okay, she is also clearly evil, but it feels like the way that it's represented is that code is like order. They're kind of like they're enforcing order,
yeah.
maybe a little bit authoritarian, that kind of thing. Whereas whatever the lady is up to, that's more
Like
about
chaos.
chaos. So that's
Yeah,
more about the destruction of the old and rebuild society in your own image, that kind of thing. Whereas code is about maintaining order in the way that
yeah.
society has
Have
been
you
run.
watched episode 19, by the way?
What's up?
Episode 19.
Yeah, I just watched the.
Okay, just making
Where
sure.
was? Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like I really like what they're like setting up with like Baku and there, where it's like, oh, he like a lot of the stuff he loves was implanted to him, and he
Mm,
has to like reclaim it in his own image, like,
yeah,
which is really interesting. Really hope
yeah.
that goes somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like they've definitely been playing with that for a while in the show, and then
Yeah,
to finally see him sort of come to the realization that his entire identity and all the stuff that he felt was, oh yeah, this is me. This is the stuff that I do. This is the stuff that I care about, was implanted into him or was result of this weird traumatic sleeper cell thing that was happening to a bunch of
yeah,
these kids. It's yeah, it's one of those cool elements that it's great to see the other shoe drop on, and it's going to be fun to see it develop. And I think the show does a good job of touching on things and giving it some kind of resolution, but still leaving it hanging for later, as it's like there's still more drama to be wrung from it. I felt Gav
yeah,
was also really good at that, where it wouldn't like spend all of a good idea at once, would kind of just wait a little bit longer to drag things out. I could see how that's frustrating to some people who just want things to be cleanly resolved.
like
But I
right
kind of,
away. But
yeah,
these are like 50 episode epics. You gotta like,
yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah. I
gotta
like
like
that.
stretch some things.
Hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I've seen a couple screenshots or things of like his next form of like Zetz's next form.
Like,
I don't know when that's going to be introduced. Like
yeah, I know there's
probably
like
like,
a vinyl leak coming,
yeah,
like, so we'll see, we'll see. Um, I like keeping up with Zets week to week. It's always a fun time, especially like the action choreography from like I talked
mhm.
about this when like Gav ended, where it's like I hope they keep up this great action choreography, and they have, so that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Gav was really like Geats already felt was really high quality, but then Gav, it just had like a scrappier feel to it. It just felt so
Yeah,
much cooler. And then this is sort of like mixing the two, where you get these scrappier elements, but then these great special effects, big bombastic fight scenes.
yeah,
Um, moment I really loved was with the debut of the with the plasma capsum. and Nox like breaks open the fire hydrants so that he can sense where Baku is coming from, like what side he's coming from, without having to like see exactly where he's coming from, just by the water being disturbed. Like that was a very clever thing, and it sort of sets in your mind that Baku, he's the main character, he's got main character powers, but someone like Nox or presumably the other agents have been in this game longer than he has, so they just have a better understanding of combat or how to
Yeah,
manipulate
like
dreams and things like that. So
yeah, it's good,
that's
good
really
shit.
cool. Yeah, I'm
That's
excited. I
that's
really like it so far.
yeah. I
You
really
know,
love the introduction of the new character, Korea.
Kureha being
Korea,
Rita from
King Oger.
King
Yeah,
Oger, great. I didn't recognize it at first because I'm so used to Rita having their mouth
the
covered
like
up. So
shonen like character design. Yeah,
yeah, but still cool.
yeah. Really like that how they're becoming a recurring character. Um, yeah, just exciting time for Toku. I'd
Mhm.
say. I mean, I actually not really excited. It's just more of a transitionary time where it's like everyone's getting onto the international broadcast train, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
Omega finished, and that was okay. Like overall, like it ended like the last half really helped it, but the first half still had like a lot of problems that made us
Mhm.
drop the show initially when we
Yeah.
started this. And then like Gozuger, like despite the bullet holes, has been still I think keeping up a really good pace.
Mhm.
Like and then like Gavon Infinity kind of just like they haven't really revealed much character yet. I mean they have revealed like the cast, but like the trailer barely showed any characters, so it's like I don't know,
Right.
it's mostly just
Very
aura
similar to
parts.
Zets, where
Yeah,
like we were just kind of going into it being like, what is this about?
yeah. I mean
I
it's
mean,
it
we'll learn
looks
soon enough.
cool, but it's like I don't know what it's about.
Yeah. And also a new Precure show coming out soon. That's
Yeah. Oh yeah, the detective one. Yeah.
yeah, which I'm pretty like I wasn't super interested in this year's theme, so I just didn't watch it because I'm not like a big idol guy. I don't really
Yeah.
like idol stuff. But this being like, oh, it's detectives, it's like time travel, where the main character travels from the Reiwa era to like the Heisei era.
Mhm.
So, she's like in the fucking early 2000s or whatever. Um, very depressing time in Japanese history culturally, but they probably will not cover that in Freak here.
It's still a
So
kid show. It's still a kid show.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I always wanted to get into Precure. I just don't really it just kind of like passed me by so many times, and
Mhm.
I'm like, and I'm already watching a bunch of other stuff. That I'm like, I'll get to it
Yeah.
eventually. It's just at some point, like I want to watch Hugto
That one's
Precure.
really good.
Yeah, because like that one has the theme that interests me the most.
Hmm. Yeah, I really like that one. That's one of my favorites for sure. So,
Yeah. I also
I don't think
it was the one that came out during Combinator build, and so like
right, right, yeah,
like
yeah,
I
that is
remember.
right. Yeah, yeah. If I
So
had to pick an absolute favorite and one that I think is on Crunchyroll, so if people out there want to watch it, it's available. Obviously, there are other websites you can go to watch the
yeah.
shows that aren't on US streaming, but Happy or not Happiness Charge, Go Princess Precure, that's
Go
my
Prince.
personal
Yeah.
favorite, which is a
I heard
very like
I
that's a
heard good things
common
about
favorite.
Heart
Heartcatch,
Catch.
yeah, that's another one that was like the first one that was new when I got into it.
Ah.
So like the first one I watched all the way through was Fresh Precure, but Heartcatch, that was like the new hotness that
Yeah.
attracted me because it was by like the character designs are by the same guy as Ojamajo Doremi, which is
Yeah. And also
another
Concerned Sins. So like
yes,
that's like
yep. But yeah, just I really like Ojamajo Doremi. So I have a huge soft spot for Heartcatch Precure. There are some people who still consider it to be like, oh, it's the best one, etc. But you know,
their opinion.
yeah, it's really good. So
Yeah.
but there are other ones that are just as good or better, in my opinion. But yeah, Star Detective, I'm excited for that. That's coming out soon. Just like I think this weekend, or this next weekend. So
Yeah. Anything else you got like to mention? Because we talked about Zets, we talked about Dragon Ball,
What's
we
that?
even threw in some Mario.
What's that?
I
Sorry, my headphones unplugged for a second.
Oh dang! No, I was just asking. Like, is there like anything else on your mind? Anything else you've been doing?
Well, I guess also regarding Dragon Ball, I have been watching a bunch of Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
which I talked
You heard
about a
me
little
binge
bit.
GT. Yeah.
Yeah, I went through the end of the Shadow Dragon stuff in GT. Um, GT is not very good, in my opinion. It's just kind of a toothless rendition of Dragon Ball. There are some good elements, though. I really like the final episode. The final
Everyone loves
two
the final
episodes.
episode. People are like, the final
Yeah,
episode makes it all worth it. And I'm like, I'm
yeah.
sure like it's a good episode, but I don't
I
think
don't
it'll
think
make
it.
all 60
Yeah,
episodes worth it.
yeah. And I liked the episode before, like when like Goku using the spirit bomb and beating the 1-star dragon. Like that is super cool. All the lead up to it is great. And you know, the final episode itself, where it's like Goku is dead and ascending to heaven and saying goodbye to like Krillin and Yamcha and shit. It's like, yeah, that's good. Um, but it is. I'm just a little bit like I've just never felt like post Dragon Ball stuff, like post manga stuff. I feel like the villains are always just kind of like not nearly as interesting as the stuff that like nobody is ever to the same level as like Frieza or Boo. Um, you know, unfortunately, like who on earth, if you asked 1,000 Dragon Ball fans, is your favorite villain the 1-star dragon slash Sin Shenron, you know, as he's known in the English dub? Like, is anybody going to say that that's their favorite villain?
That
You
this is
know?
your goat.
Yeah. Like even in Super, which again I haven't watched, so I can't like make a huge claim to it, but someone like Zamasu is like I can see people being like, "Oh, I really like him. He has a personality, he has a motive."
He has aura.
So yeah. But I was thinking about that because I saw some videos on YouTube by a channel that was like ranking all the Dragon Ball villains, and it was obviously just somebody who was like the typical Dragon Ball fan. Like if you imagine in your head the most stereotypical version of a fan of Dragon Ball, that's the kind of video that it was. So it just made me be like, you know, I'm a little bit out of step with a lot of that. You know, the more stereotypical parts of the Dragon Ball fandom and power scaling and you know, thinking that Majin Vegeta is the greatest thing ever made. You know, so I went and I downloaded all the movies because I feel like that's what when people say that they're fans of Dragon Ball Z, they are mostly just remembering all the movies
Yeah.
and then they kind of half remember the show, but they'll talk about like Cooler and Broly and shit. So I decided to download all the Dragon Ball movies, and I was starting from the beginning. So I started watching with the original 3 Dragon Ball movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
classic Dragon Ball.
yes, and I actually really enjoyed those movies. I feel like the first one's a little bit weak because it's just a worse version of the very first story arc. Uh, but the new elements are pretty cool, and the villain of that movie, Gomez, is like an interesting villain as somebody who is like his motive is that he's like this big monster guy that has insatiable appetite, and he's like suffering, and he just needs the Dragon Balls to wish so that he can finally have a meal that will satisfy him. He's defeated actually by Bulma, which is great because she throws the final Dragon Ball into his stomach after he ate the other 6, and she summons Shenlong, which blows him up. So it's like that's cool. And then second movie, it's like Goku and Krillin doing training, and you know
Yeah,
from early on in
aren't
Dragon
those
Ball.
like initial movies just be like somewhat retellings of like Dragon Ball arcs, just like different?
Yes, yeah, because then the third movie is like, oh, it's a tournament arc, but it's also kind of the Red Ribbon Army arc. but it's so it's like a bunch of little things here and there. There's Ten Shinhan and Chaozu in it as like major characters. Tao Pai Pai and fights with Goku and Arale. A lot of good stuff is happening there. So those three movies, and they all are like roughly in the same continuity as each other. So it's like an alternate universe version of Dragon Ball, which I thought was interesting. Because then when you get to the Z movies, it's just chaos. It's just complete nonsense. Like when these movies take place, how they can possibly take place, if they're in continuity with each other. The only one that you can maybe kind of force into the continuity is the very first one, which
Yeah.
is so far is the only one I've rewatched. Which I loved actually. I think it's a great. People make fun of Garlic Jr. because of his shitty TV arc. That movie though, very good. Um, but because it takes place before Z, during that, it's easy to be like, okay, maybe this just happened, and even though the events of Gohan getting kidnapped and Goku teaming up with Piccolo and fighting a monster guy all happen again, maybe you could say that this happened before the fight with Raditz. It's still not like a clean thing, but you can at least force it in if you need to for the Garlic Jr. arc later to make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going through all that stuff, having a good time watching these movies because it's been a long time. It's probably been over 10
Are
years
you
since
using the
I
Seed of
watched
Might
them. I am.
versions? Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, because those I saw like a lot. Those have been like circulating, and like those look great. Those are like great
Yeah,
ways to watch. And, like they got like all sorts of audio tracks. It's like
that's what put me in this mood, like this kind of Dragon Ball mood, because that's when I downloaded the rest of GTE to watch that. Was like when the Z like subs were finally posted. I was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I should download their GT subs and finish that series up. So I watched the Shadow Dragon stuff, and then I, downloaded the movies. So I've been watching through the movies now. So yeah, good on Seed of Might. Thank God for fans
for
committing
once.
committing piracy, because the fucking companies involved will never ever make anything close to as good as that, unfortunately. um
Yeah, I mean we had the AB group, but apparently the disputes of Toei like apparently like stopped that
yeah
and that was only French anyway, so it's
yeah
it is what it
but
is.
but that's
At
all
least it exists.
that's all I got to say about Dragon Ball. So do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you want to yap about that's been on your mind?
Oh, I feel like there has to be something. Just like I mean, I don't have to like extend this podcast out for too long, but I feel like my brain is I don't know. I mean, I already talked about the Galaxy movie, so it's
Hmm.
like I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
kind of been on like a just kind of a weird, just like I'm not really experiencing that much. I'm just kind of like vibing. Like I only
Hmm.
like I haven't really watched like I usually watched a lot of movies last year, and then this year, already starting this year, just I've only watched like a couple.
Hmm.
Like I watched Doug's first movie, which was a really
Okay.
funny. I actually really
Yeah.
like that one.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous like mediocre. I think I realized the appeal of Doug. The appeal of
Yeah.
Doug is
Oh
that
yeah. Yeah.
the character sucks, but everyone around him is funny, and
Hmm.
that's where the comedy comes in.
Yeah, I like
Like,
Doug. Friend of the show, Toby Jones. He's a big Doug fan. So,
why does that feel? That feels so like when I know about Toby. That feels so accurate. Oh
yeah,
my god.
it
I don't
feels
know.
like
I
there's a
just
little bit of Doug energy in AJ. Like,
AJ
yeah, there's.
material, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. I
So
mean, we're about to talk about like the AJ movie tonight on Analytical Fanboys, so that's gonna be
hell yeah.
fun.
Um,
I did actually watch. I guess I did actually finally watch the animatic and the pilot episode because I never watched those
yeah,
before. Um,
good
very,
stuff.
they work really like honestly, like you could kind of connect all those three as like a trilogy, and it works really well.
I
Like,
think so. Yeah, I even though like when I was asked to, for Toby wanted my opinion on it and to review it and whatever, he was like, "All right, don't draw too hard of a line between this and the Cartoon Network stuff, mostly for legal reasons, but also just because, it could stand on its own thematically. I get
Yeah.
it. I get where it comes from for sure, but it's definitely like you can tell the same group of people made this stuff and this movie, and that it's still like coherent within itself. It's just these are their younger days, and
Yeah,
this is
and
them as
it's
like
it's a
30 year
really good
olds.
arc like that they form
Yes.
with like okay here's like AJ like out of high school, then here's AJ like learning like about adulthood, and then here's AJ like in his late 30s, and it's great
Mm.
shit.
Yeah, it's and that animatic. I think that was the first time, because that was a while before.
Yeah, I saw your
You,
comment on it. I saw your
yeah,
comment
that's
like when
true.
I
Yeah, I
was
left I left this stupid comment.
yeah it was
but
like
but
man why was really full of himself back then.
yeah, I mean, it was a joke, but
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
there was somebody that was like, why should we care about what you have to say? Whatever. It's like this is just it's not. Yeah, but what was I gonna say? This was a while before like the current boom of indie animation, and before stuff like Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl, where people kind of discovered that you can just throw up an animatic onto YouTube and be
Yeah.
like, this is good enough.
I mean, here's the thing, like, animatics on YouTube have existed, like, long before. I don't know why it took that one to, like, I mean, you got musical animatics where people would just take a song from a musical and then just, like,
Mm,
animate their thing over it. It's like, I
yeah.
don't know what took them so long, but hey, God,
Well,
glad people figured
I've
it out.
always felt that way, but also like I can see why the connection. It would still be hard to make the connection of, well, people are interested in that because that's short form content. It's just
Yeah.
a song or a clip or whatever. Whereas people might be harder to be on board of watching an episode and considering like, okay, this is a pilot. This is a complete work in and of itself. It's not just a part of the
Yeah,
production
it's a
like
narrative.
animatics. Uh, as an episode, it might be harder for people to get into. But I would say, like, as soon as, whenever they posted that AJ animatic, I was like, oh, this is, people can do this. People can just be like, whatever,
Yeah.
have the budget or manpower in order to finish an episode of animation. So here you go. Here's the animatic.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's
that's
what
just,
I kind of do with, like, my show. Like, that I'm still
yeah.
working on season 2 soon, hopefully.
I think that that's the way to go for a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
people that can afford more extremely like high quality animation stuff like that. Go,
Yeah.
but the people that just want to get their idea out and want to portray like a feeling or a vibe or whatever, audience
Yeah.
I think will be way more forgiving of that now than in any other time. Not everything has to be to look exactly like the Amazing Digital Circus, like
Yeah, or like a freaking lackadaisy.
mm,
Which they need extra budget for that, which is like
yeah.
good on them for getting that, but it's also like, ooh,
Oh,
this is a
oh yeah.
big produce.
How do you feel about the new glitch
Oh,
show?
okay, okay. I actually I need a I have opinions, both good and bad.
Okay.
Because I follow Rubber Ross for a while, like
Hmm.
he does some really funny like Gartic phone like animation stuff.
Hmm.
Like I really like his the video where he got a bunch of artists to like do little animatics for the Tumblr Sexy Man tournament. And
Right.
then um so I've known about Rubber Rock. I didn't really follow his Game Grumps days. I just mostly just followed him like when he's doing all his solo stuff.
Right.
And I never heard that he was working on a show until like he started teasing it, and I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah.
And then
Me neither.
and I looked it up, and and apparently there was like concept episodes for it,
Hmm.
like back in the day. And the way and you can kind of tell this show's been in development since like 2009, kind of for
Yeah.
like a lot of reasons, um, for good and bad. I feel like it gives a lot of
Hmm.
tome energy, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word. Like
Oh
I
fuck
didn't want
yeah,
to.
Tom.
Yeah, I knew you would get a kick out of like me saying that because I know
Uh-huh.
like yeah, they just like it's very much like this is I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game
Oh
Over versus with the show we're talking about, which kind of
yes.
clever name.
Mhm.
But it's also like, okay, I mean, like, people are comparing it to Pibby, which is like this was made like
Way
conceptualized long
before,
before
yeah.
Pibby. But I can see the Pibby comparisons.
I mean, I thought of it immediately too when I was,
Yeah,
even though
like
I
the start
knew it
glitching.
was a concept that was from before that. I was like, "This is what does this remind me of?" And I thought, "Oh, it's Pibby." I
Yeah,
thought, except for it's just instead of being from the educational show and going out into the rest of the thing, it's like Kit and Caboodle, the two main characters, go into like an educational game and find a
yeah,
character from that and bring him out into the
yeah.
like outer world. So,
The Outer
uh,
Worlds.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
um,
Yeah,
yeah.
continue.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it could work. It's just like not really like a concept I'm kind of like in love with. It's just like, I'm
Mhm.
glad it's being made. It's like that's kind of all I got really for it.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it's a little bit gimmicky for my tastes. Uh, it does kind of read to me as maybe a passion project or something that somebody would have been interested in making when they were younger, and then maybe either like their tastes or just the media landscape had changed, so it's kind of a little
yeah, it
passe
feels like a
by
time
the time
capsule. Yeah.
that it comes out. But I like the fact that they're kind of going whole hog into that
Yeah,
idea.
it's not like it doesn't feel like cynical about it. It just it genuinely wants to present this like concept to you.
Yeah. And he was I saw like some clip, like I said, I actually just like you didn't know that he was even conceiving this until the teasers right before this trailer came out. And I heard a clip of him talking about how he didn't want to make it exactly like Reboot or Wreck It Ralph or something like that. And then it would have like a slightly a different concept, even though it's very similar to Reboot,
Yeah.
where it's about these characters in a game, you know,
Different games,
fighting
yeah.
yeah to stop them from completing the game. Um, so, but I mean, hey, reboot's great. I love mainframe. I'm obviously a big
Yeah.
Beast Wars fan, so
Yeah.
I have no problem there. Um, and I will say, in general, I think there's a lot of people. I don't think that Pibby is like the greatest thing in the world or whatever. We were
Yeah.
robbed of like a masterpiece because it wasn't made. But I do think a lot of people kind of misunderstand the appeal of it or what was interesting about it when that first like short was released. In that they think it's just like, what if cartoons were edgy and fucked up? When the first thought that I had when I saw that was, oh, this is commenting on how Cartoon Network is a dead carcass of a studio and its IPs, like the personality and the actual humanity of them, are dead. They are just flesh puppets to be paraded around. Like, here's the Flintstones. Look at the Flintstones, guys. Look at Scooby Doo, guys. Like, look at Powerpuff Girls, etc. It felt like a very bold and cynical thing criticizing the network that it's
Yeah.
kind of based on. And I thought that that was funny, especially in a year like when that came out. It was when there was a lot of problems going on with like HBO Max taking down shows and all of that stuff. Like Cartoon Network was like in a really bad place at that
Still
point.
are.
They're in a worse place now. So they're not doing much better than they
Yeah.
were, in 2022. Um, that from me, like for my opinion, that was why I was like, oh, that's funny that they are able to get away with that. Like just calling it out. I didn't
And
think
there's
of
still like a bit of like for me the joke is kind of diminished when it's being made by the people who are still
mm,
like funded by the people who are still kind of like
for sure, but
destroying the network.
but I think it's like a give and take where it's like
Yeah.
it's both a little bit like I don't know if you're the ones who should be saying this, but also like I can't believe you're the ones who are acknowledging this, because I think that the message probably wasn't strong enough, or if it was like too subtle, or I'm just cooking too hard,
Yeah.
because the overwhelming amount of people on the internet and across the industry only see it as what if kids shows were fucked up. Like that's
Yeah,
the
because
only
it
way that they
literally starts
perceive.
with like the educational like Pibby,
Yeah.
even though that was probably supposed to be like a reference to the preschool Cartoon Network block that was happening. I don't know. Maybe we're off base. I don't know.
The context of the where the network was at the time was so fresh in my mind that I couldn't see it as anything but that. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
reason why Cartoon Buffoons exists, is because of Cartoons Buffoons and Pibby exists for the same reason, where it was just like I'm upset that this network that I loved just like torpedoed its entire, like all
Trajectory.
of its, like, and it was just like all of its cool shows are like whatever, Adult Swim, you just air them, and it's just like its identity is just like really fading into the background and disappearing, and that's sad. So I wanted to celebrate why it's so
The
great,
legacy,
or like
yeah.
why people cared about it to begin with, not necessarily prop it up now as this like great indomitable thing you can't criticize, because Morgan and I criticize it every episode, but
Okay. Did you hear like Invisible Fight Girls probably not getting a second season?
yeah,
That's just upsetting. I
there's so
really
many
enjoyed it.
like that, and like Stugo not getting a second season. It's like, what
Yeah,
even is
just
this?
I
Fuck
mean,
this
like
stupid world.
yeah, bro. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Eh.
It is what
Yeah.
it is. Uh,
But yeah, just want to like, so I'm cautiously optimistic about
yeah, Game
Gameoverse.
Oververse. Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
and
fine.
the tone comparison is very apt.
Yeah.
Um, I'll say I don't like Kerbofer. I don't really respect him as a person,
No,
but I
me neither.
but I respect, like, he did it. He made his like weird passion project show on like Newgrounds in like 2009 or whatever, whenever the hell it was coming out.
Yeah.
Like he did that, and he did it to like a degree that a lot of other people didn't really do at that time, and he did
Yeah,
it,
and still
kind
don't
of.
really do because usually it's like I feel like a lot of these like indie shows are like they get started and then they kind of fizzle out real quick.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
unless you got like Digital Circus backing, but
yeah.
it's
Digital
like
Circus is I think it's gonna go the distance. I think it's safe to say,
yeah, I mean
that
it's
that
gonna
will.
it's like almost done. It's almost done. It's
Yeah,
almost done.
there's like a couple more episodes left, so we can safely say like that's one where it boom, they had this ambitious idea, executed it, and it's,
Yeah,
big thumbs up. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of faith in Glitch. I don't think everything that they've made is like
yeah.
amazing, but I just like them as a studio and as a, like,
Mm.
guys who
Did you
pump
watch
money
Knights of
into a cool
Guinevere?
project. I
Because I don't
did.
think we've
I
talked
did.
about that.
Yeah, I did. How do you like it?
Oh, I
Um,
like it quite a bit. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it's not just like directly. It's not just like it's more than what people say it is. I think, and
yes, it's
it's
not
really
just
good.
like Dana Terrace is mad about Disney. It's
Yeah,
like there's some more. That's an element to it, like
yeah,
critiquing of Disney, but it's more in a general sense of like corporate mascots and nostalgia, and
yeah. I
the
also just like the
princess
cool robot
stuff.
stuff. I just think the
Yeah,
robot stuff is neat.
yeah. It has a really striking aesthetic. It feels like the kind of cool, like an OVA that you would buy and you would watch like the first two episodes of it and be like, what is up with
Yeah,
that? And then forget about it for, years and relearn about it later. So I'm
that's a
excited
good way to put
for
it.
that to get made, for that to like kick off and become like a real show, hopefully soon. So yeah, I really like that. So I hope that this one is also good. I have optimism. I'm proud of Rebel Ross for getting his weird little passion project out there for the world, after so long. I think that's all that we can do as people who are also creatives and have our own passion projects, is
Little
just,
babies, yeah,
yeah, be happy whenever, like, you don't have to like everything, but I do like to
yeah.
be happy whenever people get to release the thing that's been on their mind that they need to
I
show the
mean, hey,
world.
like the project I'm working on, I've been conceptualizing it since high school, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
I
I
mean,
I need to like I'm no different. I'm no different.
mhm. Yeah, a little bit for me. I've been writing fantasy books, and they're in Google Drive for now. And I go every so often I'll go through and like either edit them or write a little bit more. But all that started in like 2016, so it's been a long time
Yeah, nearly a
since
decade. Yeah.
since I was like writing about these characters and like drawing art of them, even though I'm not an artist, or I'm not
You're a way better artist
well,
than me, man.
I guess I'm an artist in the sense that I draw, I do
yeah,
art, but
but
I'm not a
it's not your like 100% focus, but you still like
right.
do really good with your art. Like
Yeah.
I still really like your art,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you very much. And there's more of it to come, everybody listening.
Yeah, I
Is
guess
that,
like that's
I
a good
guess,
place to end it. I
yeah.
guess because it's like yeah, thank you for tuning into this shoot the shit episode of In Case Break Glass. Wyatt, plug your stuff.
Go on over if you want to check me out. You know what? Don't go on Twitter. Go on Bluesky. It's Waz Ranger, WAZP Ranger. It's mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do post about videos I'm making, podcasts I'm doing, and art sometimes. So, and I have that tagged
Yeah.
as Y art, so WY dash art, because my name is Wyatt. So check that out. Check out my channel. It's only magic. I post cartoon buffoons and stuff on there, which I was just talking about. If you want to see my normal like videos, they're in there. Check out the Stugo one. It's like an hour long. It's a good time. Check out the AJ's Goes to the Dog Park one. That one's, it's a normal short, like a regular review rather than a big epic thing that I usually do. But yeah, give that a go. I've got more videos planned, so check it out. Also, if you want to go on the Patreon and support me, $3, you get the videos a week early, you get the podcast a week early. It's a good time. It's a good deal. Uh, Thumbs up. All right, how about you?
Hey, you can find me on my two YouTube channels, Buster Corp and Buster Tales. Buster Tales is where I do my little passion project. We talk a lot about passion projects this episode, so I figured I'd plug it.
Yeah, plug it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm making Victory Buster on there, so go check it out. And also, check out my normal video essays where I'm doing. The last video I did was Ultraman Omega. I finished it, and I have opinions, so go check that out. I have a lot more videos in the works, both for both channels, so check them out. And make sure to subscribe to Modular Media. We got all sorts of fun shows on here where we're In Case Break Glass is coming back. We're right now we're just recording the first episode of the year. We have more ideas coming. And then of course we got the regular analytical fanboys and modular components, so that's gonna be a fun time. And yeah, I think that's about all I got. Sorry for this is a jank episode, but we're getting back into the swing of things.
Right. No, it's a good, nice conversation.
Yeah.
Nice sort of free form conversation. I wanted to end it on a very positive note there with like even if we're not like out of our mind excited for Gameverse, again, I just want to give some appreciation to Rubber Ross, and even if I haven't really paid attention to him since the Game Grumps days, just wanted to be like, hey, cool that he is doing this,
Yeah.
and good for Glitch.
See y'all later.